that's not, believe it or not, people don't just think of that the minute they start writing. That's something that they kind of think of after the fact. I mean, sometimes it's not even done in the screenplay at all. Sometimes you'll find the screenplay, it'll be totally traditional, telling the story completely linear, and it's not until the editor comes along and says, oh, you know, it'd be really cool if we opened up on this shot because it's such a powerful shot as opposed to some other shot. So sometimes it's not even done. But if it is, if you want it to be done, then all you have to do is rename the file. Say, okay, well, now this is going to be scene 45, and suddenly the scene comes after everything instead of before everything. And I mean, that's just obviously a very easy example. You can get a lot more complex than that. You can move stuff around, and what I generally do, like if I decide 34 should really come after 35, I'll rename 34 to like 34B, and then I'll, in fact I can do that right now, so I would just say, okay, so this is 34B, this becomes the new 34, and then this will become 35. Or you can simply use the alphabet to differentiate things, you know, say, okay, really I just want there to be a whole different path after scene 34, and so you make 35, 37, 38, 34A, 34B, 34C, and then you pick up where you left off. So it's sort of like the note card system without having to go through note cards or a fancy GUI interface that makes you think that you have note cards. It's a fairly common feature in the other bigger screenplay applications that you can zoom out to like this note card view and have kind of a summary of your scene, of the scene, and then you can move them around and do all this other stuff. And it's a nice feature. Again, it's really nice. This is kind of the lo-fi re-implementation of that idea. At the end of it all, getting all of these files into one document is actually something that I usually do on a command line. So if you're, again, on Windows, I don't actually know how to do this. On Linux and Mac, you can use the cat command. It's really pretty simple. You just open up a terminal and you say, okay, I want a cat anything ending in the term dot or SCP, so that's asterisk SCP. So anything SCP. In fact, we could even say anything dot SCP. And we want to redirect it, so that's the greater than symbol, to the same place, which is this folder here. But we'll call it for print dot screenplay. Actually, you know what? We'll call it for review because it's probably not ready for printing yet. So that's their for review version. And now if I go into here, we'll see a for review screenplay. And if I go and open it in Emacs, there's the whole screenplay starting with scene 1 and just it keeps going and going and going until we get to the very, very end of it, which will take quite a while because it's 90 pages, but you can see that kind of counting down. It's 10% finished right now. I'm on line 325. So that kind of just, well, it literally concatenates, that's what the cat command does, concatenates all of your scenes in the order that you listed it. So you need to list them sequentially in some way. Like I say, you can use alphabet, or you can use numbers or number and alphabet to give it a sequence. So as long as it shows up in your file, in your file window, in your file manager, like the Finder or Nautilus or Dolphin, or I'm trying to think of what the Windows one is called, but wherever you go to My Computer or whatever, if it's in order there, then it's going to be in order here. So simply concatenates it completely arbitrarily, and you can do that as much as you want. I mean, if you go and switch a scene around again, then just recat and just do a cat command again and dump it to a big file. And if you don't like it that way, you can either just write everything in one big monolithic file. You can absolutely do that. That's not a problem. Or you can actually do it within Emacs and simply read the file into the same place. So if we're here and we say, well, I know that this is scene 1, or actually it's scene 2, but whatever. So now we want there to be another scene in here. So you can insert a file and tell it to insert scene 5, and suddenly it just opens that file right inside the same file. It's just kind of reading it right in and just filling. It's almost like copying and pasting without copying and pasting. So that's kind of a nice feature. I think after 90 times or 44 times, I don't think that would be so fun anymore, but you could do it that way. However you get it done, whether you're concatenating it or reading it into the same document, or you just start out writing it that way, it's fine. At the end of all of this, you're going to have a big monolithic file that contains your screenplay. And the great thing about this is that you can take that file, you can send it anywhere you want to anyone, and they'll always be able to open it. Now, traditionally, you don't send screenplays out as plain text files. That literally would probably really confuse some people. They just wouldn't understand why you were sending them a plain text file. And it's also kind of dangerous to do that because if they're using an inferior operating system than Linux, so anything other than Linux, then if they open it in their text editor, it might not keep like that, the monospacing, the monospaced font, the Courier 10 point or whatever that is. It might not keep that, so instead of looking all nice and pretty and typewritery, it'll look completely wrong because the spacing will be different. So it's kind of a dangerous thing to do. So you might want to print it, or print, what is it? Save to file, print to file. Yeah, thanks. You print it to a file, you turn it into a PDF.